What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I get this question all the time. And I mean, I'm notorious for bashing fasting. When we look at it, I'm a physiologist, so I look at brain signaling and how we have areas of appetite control, endocrine control, and part of that also is thyroid, as well as how our body responds to fueling. So if someone is going to get up and do a workout session, someone being female, because men, completely different story here. If we're thinking about women getting up and doing a training session fasted, I pretty much say, well, why did you do that? You should have just stayed in bed. That would have been better for your body composition. Because when we're looking at fasting and we're trying to hit intensities, we know that a half an hour after you wake up, you have a peak in cortisol. And exercise also increases cortisol because just like your heart rate goes up, cortisol goes up. And when you have that elevation of cortisol, your brain's getting a lot of signals of, okay, I need to break things down. So you're breaking down primarily lean mass and fat and a little bit of carbohydrate to fuel. But the signaling goes further than that because you're trying to do an exercise stress or really strong external stress on the body without nutrition. And the brain's like, hey, where's the nutrition? Where is the nutrition density? And in women's brains, we have a higher density of what we call kisspeptin and kisspeptin neurons. And they're very sensitive to calorie intake and as well as stress. So it controls our endocrine system. It controls our appetite hormones. So if we go into exercise fasted, we start to have this dysregulation of our endocrine system. So we know 4 days of fasted workouts, we start to have a drop in our thyroid function. And it feeds forward to a dysregulation of our daily hormone pulses, which is really important for endocrine function. We know from the research that if women have just a little bit of protein and carbohydrate before their training, then they actually end up with better outcomes of the exercise. So they're able to hit higher stress loads. But post exercise, they have a greater increase in what we call the EPOC, or your excessive post oxygen consumption. In general layperson terms, that's elevated metabolism, which people are like, I want my metabolism to be up. But also by having food afterwards as well, we're telling the hypothalamus, yep, we can drop cortisol, we can start building that lean mass, and we can use more body fat as a resting fuel. When we see it in men, it's a different story. And that has to do with differences in muscle morphology. They have more glycolytic fibers, less oxidative. They also have a lower threshold that they're able to sustain with lower calorie intake.